You lose the game the moment you start playing for applause. Respect doesn't bloom in the warmth of approval. It's forged in the chill of tension. It doesn't grow from smiles, kindness, or accessibility. It's born in the friction between presence and perception. If your presence doesn't send quiet ripples through a room, doesn't disturb the comfortable or unsettle the dishonest, then you're not a presence at all. Your background noise. In a world that worships comfort, you must become the embodiment of pressure. The truth is this: the more likable you try to be, the more disposable you become. The world has been conditioned to trust warmth and mistake it for weakness. If you're too eager to be embraced, you invite people to walk right through you. They don't love you, they tolerate you, and toleration is not respect. So if you want instant gravity, you must become untouchable. Not angry, not cruel, but untouchable, cold, not in heartlessness but in control. Indifference is your armor, detachment your power. Don't flinch, don't grin unless it punctuates a silence sharp enough to draw blood. Don't lower your tone unless it's to sharpen a point that cuts deeper than a scream ever could. You don't earn reverence by making people feel comfortable. You earn it by making them feel your absence, even when you're standing right in front of them. Because, in a world of endless handshakes and fake smiles, the man who carries himself like he doesn't need anyone is the one they all secretly follow. People respect what they can't decode, fear what they can't influence. You must become unreadable, still, measured, unhurried. Never laugh too quickly, never lean in, never over-explain. Enthusiasm in its rawest form is desperation in disguise. It screams, "Please notice me, please value me." The powerful don't seek attention, they extract it. Their silence creates suspense, their gaze interrupts conversations, their words, when finally spoken, carry weight not because of volume, but because of scarcity. You're not here to blend in, you're here to unbalance. Not through anger, but through poise. Not by shouting, but by being the stillness that forces others to echo. People may call you distant, let them. Distance breeds mystery, and mystery breeds control. There's no power in being open. Your emotions must live behind bulletproof glass. No whimpering, no oversharing, no verbal nudity. Every time you reveal, you relinquish leverage. Even your body must speak the language of control. No fidgeting, no pacing, no desperate nods. You walk like gravity bends to your will. You sit like a throne follows you. When you speak, the air should tighten. Your voice should be low, calm, and patient, as if time moves slower for you. Force people to lean in, not out of curiosity, but out of fear they'll miss the drop of poison in your honey. When disrespected, you do not react. Reaction is the theater of the weak. Instead, you respond, strategically, sparingly, coldly. A silence held for 2 seconds longer than expected can crack egos. A stare that doesn't blink can provoke confessions. Your stillness becomes a blade, because when they see you don't flinch, they understand. Their words mean nothing to your world. Warm men are liked, cold men are obeyed. You want respect, chill your aura, freeze your expressions, let your energy lower the temperature of a room just by entering it. When people question whether you even feel, they stop questioning your strength. It's not what you say that matters, it's what you don't. Words cost you power, silence earns you influence. Those who speak constantly are handing out free samples of themselves. They become common, predictable, easy to dismiss. Every word you release is a vein opened. The more you speak, the more you bleed. So speak rarely, and when you do, make it count. Let your words leave bruises, not by screaming, but by slicing through pretense. Let them be so precise, they echo long after the room empties. We live in an age where noise is currency. But attention is not the same as authority. The loudest people are rarely the ones with power. They are the ones begging for it. The man who must yell to be heard already knows he's been ignored. True power is quiet. It whispers, and people lean in, not out of politeness, but out of instinct. Understand this. Every time you speak, you're either rising or falling. There is no neutral. If your words are reactionary, emotional, or too frequent, you're just another song in the playlist. But if your words are carved in silence, rare, potent, and timed like a blade to the throat, then you're unforgettable. The man who can command a room without raising his voice owns it. Silence is tension. Tension is control. When you're silent, people project their fears into the void. Their anxiety becomes your puppet. While they fill the air with chatter, you observe who's bluffing, who's lying, who's desperate. Silence reveals more than noise ever could. In that silence, you gain positioning. You gain foresight. When you finally speak, it must feel like the moment before a detonation, short, precise, devastating. Speak like a man who doesn't need to say it twice. Speak like you're etching every sentence into stone. Speak to shift the balance, not to soothe it. If someone pushes for an answer, deny it. Unpredictability is a fortress. Don't always reply. Don't always explain. Let people trip over their own projections. The desire to explain is submission in disguise. You're begging for understanding, but understanding isn't owed, it's earned. And if someone talks too much, let them. They're mapping out their weaknesses. You're listening not to respond, but to dominate. When the time for conflict comes, and it always does, don't escalate, descend, lower your voice, lower your energy, create a gravity that pulls everyone toward your silence. The quieter you become, the more serious things get. Weak men raise their voices, strong men lower them. Never gossip, never whine, never speak just to fill silence. Every word you release should be calculated. A threat, a truth, a verdict. Hold back more than you reveal. You don't impress with facts. You impress with restraint. A man who says little implies everything. A man who says too much announces his insecurity. Silence isn't empty, it's loaded. You control the room by not trying to. You let others exhaust themselves while you remain a storm behind glass. And when someone crosses the line, you don't flail. You dismantle. Quietly, swiftly, permanently. Disrespect cannot be tolerated, not even in jokes, in tones or glances. The first time someone oversteps, you draw the line with precision. Not with fury, but with finality. The weak argue, the strong end conversations without words. You correct instantly or not at all. Delay is weakness. Sometimes you don't need confrontation. You need removal. You don't punish loudly. You erase quietly. Make them vanish from your world. No closure, no warning, just absence. Let them drown in uncertainty. Never punish twice. One cold strike is enough. Make it brutal. Make it absolute. Dragging things out is emotional, not strategic. A single, well-placed move is more feared than 1,000 jabs. Never attack unless the message is final. And make no mistake, every punishment is a performance. Others are watching. If you allow one challenge to go unchecked, another will follow. But if you respond once, calmly, publicly, and ruthlessly, others fall in line. You're not correcting behavior. You're sending a message. Cross me and disappear. The world doesn't respect leniency. It respects consequence. Mercy is misunderstood as softness. But when people know that disrespecting you carries a heavy price, they adjust. They self-censor. They submit. And the best kind of power is the one you don't have to use often. The most dangerous man is the one who never threatens, but makes others fear what would happen if he did. Control the atmosphere. Walk into a room like time slows around you. Don't rush. Don't smile unless it's a tool. Scan not for admiration, but for weakness. Be the axis, not the orbit. Stillness must become your signature. Where others fidget, you remain carved from ice. Stillness is composure. Stillness is power. The less you move, the more others respond to your gravity. Do not chase connection. Let others work for your approval. If they try too hard, give them nothing. No laughs, no praise, just a look that says you're not there yet. Ask sharp questions, not to understand, but to expose. A calm, do you actually believe that? Slices deeper than any insult. You're not insulting them, you're unraveling them. Withhold attention like a god with rain. The cruelest act isn't attack, it's indifference. When someone expects your energy and gets emptiness, their illusion dies. The storm they thought they summoned never arrives. Above all, never break character. The moment you crack, you validate their efforts. Stay composed. Let them rage while you remain ice. That imbalance will haunt them more than any retaliation ever could. Presence is pressure, and pressure isn't something you show, it's something they feel. If your aura makes people straighten their backs, lower their voices, and guess their words, you've already won. The goal is not to be feared by screaming, it's to be respected by existing. Let them feel that challenging you would cost them something they're not prepared to lose. Let them wonder what you're capable of. Because in the end, the ones who walk untouched are not the loudest. They are the ones who mastered silence, stillness, and strategy. You don't ask for power. You create an atmosphere so controlled, others offer it willingly. Now it's your move. The world belongs to those who don't need it to validate them. And respect, real respect, doesn't come from how loud you are. It comes from how dangerous your silence feels. They tell you to be kind, to be open, to be vulnerable. As if bleeding in public is a badge of honor. But what they don't tell you is that every time you show weakness, someone is watching, not to comfort you, but to catalog your cracks, because in this world, weakness isn't pitied. It's priced, and the currency, control. The more they see, the more they own. That's the reality they don't write in books. The man who bleeds in front of everyone becomes the man no one fears, so you seal the wound. You wear the pain like armor. You move like it never existed, because once they believe you can't be broken, they stop trying to break you. The ones who survive aren't the loudest. They're the ones who play the long game. They say little, they observe everything, and they let others waste energy proving their worth. You never do that, because the moment you try to prove yourself, you admit you doubt yourself. So you remain silent while others boast. You remain calm while others react. Let them exhaust themselves with validation, seeking while you sharpen your mind in silence. True strength isn't about having power. It's about making others feel like they never had any to begin with. Every interaction is a battlefield, not of fists, but of perception. The way you stand, the way you look, the way you pause before you speak. All of it is a message, and the most powerful message is this: I am not affected. Because the one who is unaffected is untouchable. That's your advantage. The man who shows he doesn't need approval, doesn't fear rejection, and doesn't flinch under pressure. He becomes a ghost they can't grip. They hate that because people want control. They crave reactions. And when you deny them that, you become something more than human. You become a symbol of mystery, of strength, of danger. The dangerous man doesn't need a weapon. He is the weapon, his mind a vault, his silence a warning, his presence a question mark. You don't want people to understand you. You want them to overthink you, because confusion breeds fear. If they can't read your next move, they prepare for the worst. That's your leverage. Make them fill in the blanks with their own anxiety. You don't need to threaten anyone when their imagination is doing all the work for you. That's power, quiet, cold, and precise. You walk into rooms with stillness, not because you're calm, but because you're calculating. You scan, not with curiosity, but with control. Every handshake, every glance, every micro-expression, they're all clues. Because you're not here to connect. You're here to diagnose who's bluffing, who's pretending, who's testing. Your role is not to fit in. It's to reveal the hidden dynamics of every social ecosystem. The man who understands the room better than anyone else owns the room, without needing to speak. There's a reason kings sat on thrones, elevated, distant, hard to access. It wasn't about luxury, it was about optics. You must become that throne, not always seen, never easily reached, but always felt. Let them come to you. Let them earn the privilege of your time, your words, your attention, because the man who gives too freely is never valued. Scarcity creates worth. So you become scarce, in speech, in presence, in approval, not because you're arrogant, but because you're strategic. And when people try to decode you, you give them nothing. No explanations, no apologies, no justifications, because the moment you explain yourself, you kneel. You surrender the mystery that protects you. You hand them the map to your fortress. Never do that. Let them be confused, let them talk, let them guess. Because while they're busy trying to figure you out, You're already 10 moves ahead, watching their patterns unfold like clockwork. People respect what resists them. It's human nature. We crave what we can't control, so you must become the paradox. Approachable in form, unreachable in function. You smile, but it never reaches your eyes. You listen, but never absorb their influence. You converse, but never indulge. You exist on a plane where their approval is irrelevant, and they'll hate you for it, but they'll admire you more, because the truth is, people don't want a friend in power. They want a god they can't comprehend, but power isn't just presence. It's how you respond under pressure. Most men crack, they panic, they justify, they backtrack, but not you. When the pressure rises, you become stiller. Like ice, like death, because that silence in crisis communicates more than any rant ever could. It says, I am in control, not even chaos touches me. That rattles people. They expect noise, they expect rage. But when they get quiet, it disturbs them, and that disturbance is the foundation of fear. Your calmness must be weaponized. Let your tone be so flat it cuts deeper than shouting. Let your pauses feel like judgment. Let your stillness mirror the grave, because the man who can be unshaken during war becomes the one others follow, not out of love, but out of terror. And yet, in all this cold, in all this detachment, you are not heartless. You are not void. You feel everything. You simply refuse to expose it, because emotions are sacred, and in a world that devours vulnerability, you learn to protect your soul like a kingdom. You do not let others wander inside freely. You do not bleed in front of wolves and expect mercy. Your empathy is a weapon, not a wound. It is measured, not manic. It guides your precision. It tempers your justice, but it never clouds your logic. Because at your core, you are a strategist. You see relationships as chessboards, conversations as negotiations, and emotions as variables to manage. Not because you're manipulative, but because you understand the cost of being naive. You've seen too much. Betrayal has taught you that smiles can be daggers, and so now you trust slowly, love carefully, and reveal yourself only in fragments, because a man who is fully known is a man fully vulnerable. You must never be fully known. Let them believe they understand you. Let them feel close, but always hold back the final layer. Because when people believe there's more to discover, they treat you with curiosity and caution. And when they believe there's nothing left, they grow bored and careless. You are never boring. You are never finished. You are always becoming, always evolving, always hiding something. This is not about being cold to the world. It's about being immune to its expectations. The world wants you loud, predictable, emotional, and easy to categorize. You must be none of those things. You must become an anomaly, the man who doesn't fit the narrative, the one who isn't shaken by opinion, the one who doesn't react, but reshapes the environment with his mere existence. They'll say you're arrogant, let them. They'll say you're detached, let them. They'll say you're dangerous. Let them, because all of that means one thing. They feel your presence, and that's the goal, not to be liked, not to be praised, but to be felt and feared and respected.